Every season is spooky season in our book.
So settle in and prepare to be shook. You are listening to Shook, a comedic podcast about all things paranormal and unexplained.
I'm Sannah.
Hey friends, I'm Amanda, and I have a kind of a crazy fun fact for you today. The tea is I almost died last night in the most comical way possible.
I don't find that funny.
Okay, well, just wait. So Connolly and I are on our, 50th rewatch of Dexter. Ever heard of it? And of course, when you're having couch time and hanging out, you got to have some snacks. And so I had some Sour Patch Kids. And at some point, Connolly got up to use the restroom or something. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to eat a couple Sour Patch Kids. Well, I nearly choked to death on them. I literally saw my life flash before my eyes. If I die because I choked on Sour Patch Kids,
I'd be real disappointed in that.
I feel like, what?
Actually, that reminds me of a TikTok that I saw earlier. There's this trend going on TikTok right now where people are saying, rating things my mom has done or rating things my dad has done, etc. And this person said, rating things my grandpa has done. 0 out of 10, died choking on a steak at Golden Corral.
I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Papa.
So I would have to rate your Sour Patch Kid choking death a 0 out of 10 if that were to have happened. And shitty death aside, I would have been very upset.
Seriously, I just was so upset because I was like, this would be the most hilariously tragic way to go out. And also, what's the deal? I thought Sour Patch Kids are supposed to be sour and then they're sweet, but it was the other way around this time.
It's like worse than sour. That's murderous intent.
Yeah, so
that's called attempted homicide. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, so maybe I'll sue. Just kidding. But yeah, what is your fun fact, Sannah?
My fun fact is that I thought it'd be real cute to like try to do eyeliner today because I haven't done it since like the first 3 episodes. And I got away with it being shitty in the first 3 episodes because we weren't shooting on Riverside yet. We were doing this really convoluted Discord screen capture situation within an open broadcasting software. Anyway, that's a whole lot of jargon. It was as if I had like 3 filters on me so I could get away with like a shitty smudgy eyeliner. But once we got into Riverside, I realized it's HD, bitch. I'm caught in 4K. So I can't be just doing eyeliner. But I was like, I want to wear eyeliner. My entire adult life, I've had to be one of those girls that doesn't wear eyeliner because I suck at doing it so bad. And I've always wanted to just have a cute little wing moment. But no. So like I did it and I really wish I had taken a picture because it was so bad. It was all over my face. When I was trying to like get it off, I just was smudging it worse and worse all around here. Prior to me like smudging it and fucking it up, it kind of looked like a cute little Cleopatra moment, but like I kept having to add on to it for some reason.
Well, I think you look beautiful always. You have eyelashes to die for, and it honestly looks like you're wearing eyeliner to me just because you have such nice lashes.
That's because I couldn't get all of it off. So
another fun fact we have for you this evening is it's our 50th episode.
50th episode. I can't believe we're at 50 episodes. That's crazy. I can't wait to be at 100. But I'm manifesting that by the end of the year, we will be putting out weekly episodes so we can get to 100 so much faster.
I know you also have another fun fact for yourself. Very special fun fact. But real quick, teaser alert. We're going to have a special announcement later on in the episode, so don't skip.
Oh my God, so many fun facts today.
Yeah.
What is it, Gemini season?
Ooh.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, for everyone. Raise your hand if you have ever been victimized by a Gemini. No, we're not that bad. I keep seeing a lot of Gemini slander. And as far as I know, I'm a sweet baby angel. Actually, that's not true. That's a damn lie. Okay, I can be a sweet baby angel. That's the thing about Geminis. We're real sweet if you're sweet to us. Basically. Yep. But try us. And then the other side comes out and then it's like, just forget it. Okay, we're manifesting that we're having a pool party. So allegedly that's happening. Hopefully sometime this month.
Yay. I can't wait.
I want to go swimming.
I want to go to the pool.
I want to go to the pool and go swimming and have a cookout.
Yeah,
with my friends.
We have hella fun facts this week. Several.
I'm really excited about my story this week, but I'm afraid I will have to wait to tell it because it's Amanda's turn to go first this week.
Ooh.
What story had you shook?
Well, Sannah, I can't wait to tell you the story that had me shook, but first, a quick break.
I picked up the phone and said hello. At first, there was just a crackling, static noise. Then a voice, which sounded like part of the static, said, "I'm not leaving." Then the line went dead. Chills went all over me, but I was determined to find out if this had a rational explanation. I went back to the other office and waited outside for Darren to arrive with the keys. A few minutes later, we were unlocking the door and inside, only to find out that the phone wasn't even plugged into the wall. This is the Haunted UK podcast, and I'm the show's host, Steve. And that was an extract from Working with the Unknown, a terrifying tale about a listener's experience in her nighttime workplace. One of the many true cases we regale and present to you on the show. So if you enjoy a creepy tale or two, stories of real-life ghost encounters, doppelgangers, time slips, lesser-known UK hauntings, then join us every Friday for an episode where we frequently cross the threshold of the unknown.
And we are back. So, Sannah, the story that had me shook this week is none other than the Berkshire UFO Incident of 1969.
I don't know that one.
Are you ready?
I believe so.
Alrighty, so to set the stage, it is the evening of Labor Day on September 1st, 1969, and we are in beautiful Berkshire County, Massachusetts, which is located on the western half of the state. Berkshire County, which is also referred to as the Berkshires, encompasses several towns, including Great Barrington, Pittsfield, Sheffield, and Stockbridge, to name a few, and several of those places will come into play later. And in these small towns across the county, several residents, some say up to 40 folks, reported sights and experiences that they'll never forget, at least what they can remember. Now, first off, I just want to say how beautiful this town is. It literally looks like a dream. These towns are all spread apart by a few miles, and they're encompassed by gorgeous mountains, lush greenery, you name it. It's stunning. And I would totally visit. It's just a really cute town. But on this summer night, just after dusk, there was a boy named Tommy Warner, who was just 10 years old at the time, and he was enjoying the last of summer with company at his neighbor's house in Great Barrington. He was coloring with Crayola crayons, and as it became darker, he decided to stop coloring, and he took a look out the window. Out of seemingly nowhere, Tommy received what he now considers a telepathic communication. He heard a voice in his head saying, "You need to go home now." He thinks it's God or something, so without hesitating, he just bolts from his neighbor's house, and he starts running into their yard as fast as he can. But suddenly, he notices that he's not making any progress. His neighbors are watching in shock and awe as a light beams down onto Tommy, and he's suddenly running in place. He looks like he's on a hamster wheel. And, surprise, surprise, there's a giant disc-shaped object in the sky. And guess what? It's fixin' to take him. Before his onlooking neighbors can register what's actually going on, Tommy disappears into thin air, leaving everyone watching completely horrified. Meanwhile, a 14-year-old gal named Melanie Bowman, now Melanie Kirchdorfer, was living her own personal nightmare just a couple of miles away. First and foremost, Melanie was just a teenager, and she wanted to soak up the last remnants of summer and do rebellious teenager things, like smoking a cigarette with her friends. But instead, her parents insisted on taking her and her sister to Dairy Queen for ice cream and then marching their butts up to Lake Mansfield where they could enjoy their treat. They just wanted to have some relaxing family time. Melanie was not thrilled about this. She even said, in the most annoyed tone, she says, "We did not want to get in the car with our parents and get ice cream. It was the last thing we wanted to do." So she didn't even want to be there. It's about to get worse. As Melanie and her sister and their parents are enjoying their family time, they suddenly notice a blindingly bright light emitting from a giant craft in front of their car off in the distance. Melanie's dad shouts, "Holy shit." But her mom is frantically saying things like, "Oh, it's just a shooting star. It's just a shooting star." I'm not sure if she was just trying to placate the situation, if she was in denial, just wanting to comfort everyone. Don't know, but she's just going off the rails with that. And everyone's obviously terrified, but their dad is also curious. And he exclaims that he wants to chase/follow the craft. Melanie protests. She's screaming, "No, no, no, don't do it. Don't go after it." The next thing Melanie knows, she's aboard the craft, scared half to death. And aboard the craft, that's where Tommy lays his eyes on her, the boy who was running in place. She and Tommy didn't know each other prior to this because they were 4 years apart, and therefore they hung out in different social circles and just didn't have a reason to be friends. It would only be revealed later that they were aboard the ship together, and when Melanie met Tommy officially for the first time, she felt an immediate connection to him, and Melanie now describes Tommy like a brother to her now, after sharing this traumatic experience. Tommy remembers seeing Melanie on the ship and looking into her eyes, but Melanie is too panicked to make direct eye contact with him, and she does not realize that Tommy is there. Although her memory aboard the ship is fuzzy, there is one thing that Melanie witnessed on the UFO that imprinted on her psyche for the rest of her life. Basically, Melanie notices that there are several children aboard this craft, and one by one, they start like levitating and vanishing out of the craft. Like bloop, bloop, bloop. And she's just like, what is going on? Suddenly, Tommy is back on his neighbor's property, and his body is pinned down by the UFO's light beam. Everyone's screaming at him to get up, but it seems like it's an eternity, but he literally he can't move. He can't move a muscle. He then receives another telepathic communication that they'll be finished with him in a minute. When Tommy is finally able to get up, by that point, he had been missing for 7 minutes. As soon as he's able to get up, he sees that the craft had disappeared into the atmosphere. It just zoomed off. And then Melanie, she finds herself coming to, and she's lying down on the sandy shores of Lake Mansfield, where she was with her family. But here's the kicker. She's all alone. Her family somehow made it back home, although they don't remember how they got there. She, however, does remember that she walked home. And that would be the last time that Melanie would visit that lake for over 5 decades. I'm just going to do a little sidebar here. There's a YouTube channel called Yes Theory that I watched, and they interview her at the lake. And prior to this, she had been on the Netflix Unsolved Mystery special about this. And she says, Netflix couldn't make me come out here, but y'all did. She is visibly uncomfortable on site. She does not want to be there. She did it for them. Good for you.
Wow.
You got your content, but she's shook, for lack of a better term. And she does not go back until this documentary is filmed there. In another part of town, a woman named Jane Green, whose prominent family owned the town's drugstore, she had been enjoying an evening out with her friend named Mary. Jane and Mary were driving from Stockbridge south down to Great Barrington when their taste of otherworldly action got started. What was supposed to be an ordinary evening out on the town turned into a dreadful night that Jane explicitly would not talk about for decades. She certainly would never forget it. Jane says, if I get Alzheimer's, the one thing that'll stick in my mind is what happened. Jane describes seeing an extremely bright light as she drove, and at first she thought it must have just been an accident up the road. Eventually, as they get further up the road, the lights become too bright for her to be able to see ahead of her. So she and Mary pull over to the side of the road, each of them exiting the car to get a better look, and the car in front of them even pulls over as well. Jane describes what she saw, stating, this huge object floated right there, and I couldn't see the end of it from the right or from the left. I can't tell you whether it was bronze or whether it was silver or whether it was gold. It was immense, and it was tall, but at the bottom part, I didn't see windows, and most of all, there was no noise. Within moments, before Jane can even register what she's seeing, the UFO shoots up into the sky and over the mountain. Again, she would not speak of this to anyone for a very long time. Now, on to what's probably the most prominent witness, or witnesses rather, and that is Tom Reed and his family. So on this hot, infamous summer day, Tom was just a little kiddo. I want to say he was just shy of 10, so he was 9. if I'm not mistaken. He had been participating in a horse show. He's riding a horse downtown in the celebration, and Tom's saddle becomes loose, and the horse was just trotting along, and he almost fell off the horse and got hurt. But his mom and others came to his rescue, got him down from the horse, and they decide, wow, we need to calm our nerves. That was scary. Let's go have dinner at the Village Green Diner. It starts getting late by the time that they're wrapping up their meal, and it's approaching Tom's bedtime. So they decide to head home and take a shortcut through the covered Sheffield Bridge. He's in the station wagon with his mom, grandma, and siblings when Tom offers a small fireball candy, those spicy cinnamon candies, to his little brother Matthew. But he's quickly reprimanded by his grandma, who's sitting in the passenger seat, because it's a choking hazard, and he was too little to have that candy. Speaking of choking hazards, wow, I did not even think about that until just now. Oh, sweet synchronicities. So while grandma is facing the back seat, through the back window, she sees what looks like a bright light coming from the Housatonic riverbank. As they exit the bridge, which I said is covered, it's like a tunnel, they see a ball of light rising into the air, eventually shooting rods underneath itself, is what they said. Tom's brother notices a secondary orange orb that seems to be moving kind of internally. Tom describes it as looking like ocean movement within this orange orb. Everyone at this point is just mesmerized by the light, and suddenly Tom and his family, they realize it's dead quiet. There are no nature sounds, no chirping, nothing. The atmosphere, they say, just feels like they're underwater. Tom's mom, who's driving, pulls over, and she notices a craft in the sky. She says, there was a disc-shaped object hovering there. It looked something like, if you ever took a turtle shell and turned it sideways and looked at it, it was like that, but it was a little shorter over here. But in the middle, there was a different ridge to it. Tom said it had to have been about 100 yards long. Suddenly, the whole car lights up as if it's complete daylight. By this point, it had been getting real dark, so it's just beaming bright in there. Then their eardrums are flooded with loud sounds of crickets and bugs and any other sound that you would expect to hear on a summer night. Went from dead silent to just an abrupt, chaotic summer sound fest. And that is the last memory that Tom or anyone remembers for, you want to guess how long?
50 years, maybe?
Give or take, yeah. No, 3 hours. They lost 3 hours of time, which compared to 50 years sounds really silly.
I'm just really on that episode 50, 50th episode
Oh, yes, yes,
vibe.
yes.
So if you're going to ask me any measurement of anything, I'm going to say 50.
Make it a 50. When everyone became conscious again, Tom's mother and grandmother were in opposite seats that they were in before. His grandmother never drove. Meanwhile, his mom has scooted over to the passenger seat, and they've just done a complete reverse. The ignition is off, and they are parked by the drugstore. Jane, from earlier in the story, she arrives home sometime later and tells her husband that something strange happened. He tells her, you ought to go call the radio station, WSBS. And she says, bet. I'm sure she didn't say bet, but she's like, all right. So she marches on over to the local radio station, WSBS, and she tells Tom J., the WSBS radio host at the time, and he doesn't really believe her. He laughs it off, and he suggests that she and Mary must have been partying too hard. A few hours later, WSBS is inundated with calls reporting similar experiences to Jane, Mary, Melanie, Tommy, and the Reed family, among others. They're just inundated, flooded with these calls. Everybody wants a piece of this UFO action. Tom Reed, he explains that allegedly so many calls came into Tom J's radio station that he called the police. Tom J did. However, the calls that WSBS allegedly received and the police records that would have been from that fateful night, they're nowhere to be found. What happened to them? Where'd they go? The current radio station host, and I did not write his name down, I apologize, he explains that the way they used to do it, and maybe still do, is once they got a batch out, that tape was rewound and rinsed, reused, and recycled. It was basically dubbed over. So that was
We're taping over it.
Yes, so that was his explanation for why he couldn't roll the tape, you know? As far as what they can tell in the archives, none of this exists. However, Tom Reed did pass a polygraph test, which I know that the reliability of the results on those is pretty shoddy, but he did pass it. He created the Tom Reed UFO Monument Park, and in 2015, the Great Barrington Historical Society officially inducted the events of September 1st, 1969 into history. It states, "To all interested parties, the Great Barrington Historical Society in Massachusetts has formally and officially inducted the first off-world/UFO case in U.S. history. The subject encounter involves Thomas E. Reed, a Great Barrington resident born on February 12, 1960, and his family. The event was broadcast on Great Barrington's own WSBS radio station, marking the incident, which occurred on September 1st, 1969. This widely witnessed event was issued a HINET classification, basically a UFO sighting categorization system developed by astronomer J. Allen Hynek. During the years of Project Blue Book, a study of unidentified flying objects conducted by the U.S. Air Force and was mentioned at the United Nations in 1992. Whereas the renowned case has received international recognition due to factual and corroborated evidence, as well as the first-hand testimony, including a recent polygraph test, the Great Barrington Historical Society confirms that the Reed off-world incident is historically significant and true, and warrants induction into the GBHS collection. We are grateful to Tom Reed for providing us the opportunity to preserve his remarkable story for future generations." And that was signed by Debbie U. Opperman, the director, Kevin W. Titus, who is the Justice of Peace in the state of Connecticut, because these towns are kind of close to the Connecticut border. I will say the community seems to be split on this. Some people believe it. A lot of folks don't believe it. And I guess there was probably a little bit of hoopla about whether or not the monument could stay in the park. It was kind of chaotic for a while. But yeah, that's my story. And again, I just want to shout out the Netflix reboot of Unsolved Mysteries. It is Volume 1, Episode 5. Also, the YouTube channel known as Yes Theory, who made a wonderful documentary about this. What do you think? Do you believe it?
Well, there's plenty enough witnesses. I don't know why they would all be saying the same thing, since they were not really affiliated with each other.
Exactly.
Like prior to the events. Yeah, it just seems kind of weird for Melanie to be so shook by what happened that she won't even go back there.
A point that I actually wanted to make is that she didn't even want to be there. What would have happened if she had gone and shared a cigarette with her sister and their friends? What would have happened then? I fully believe that it was meant for her to experience this, and I'm really sorry that she went through it. But so many people just live their life like this world, this physical world we live in, is the end all be all, and they're dead set on that fact. I don't know if she was one of those people, but it's a great wake-up call, really, for anyone to experience something like this, because I was really startled by the fact that 3 hours of time went missing for Tom, and the fact that Tommy and Melanie were on the craft at the same time. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is so weird. And those 3 hours that Tom Reed and his family were unaccounted for, what happened to them? And I've got a huge question for aliens. How in the fresh heck do you make sure that these human beings get back to their original area, or the general, safe place that they came from? Generally speaking, like, what if they wound up across the country? That would be so crazy.
Well, I mean, I reckon they're so highly intelligent and they seem very precise with their navigation that maybe they are able to, without much effort, return people to the precise location.
Yeah.
Where they abducted them.
They drop a pin. They say, put her here.
It's giving shared location for sure.
If everyone's scared of aliens and thinks that they have malicious intent, what would be their motivation for wanting to make sure that they get back safely instead of just dropping them somewhere random?
This is like a potential conspiracy theory, I guess, but perhaps it's part of their plan to just like do what they do as non-invasively as possible, so that there is no warfare that could come from it. Because
true,
consider the possibility that our government is entirely aware of the existence of other, intelligent life outside of our planet. And then consider that not only are they aware, but they also communicate with them
Mm-hmm.
intelligently, and they have an agreement to like not make themselves too known, and any experiments they conduct on members of the general public need to be done in such a way that if the victim of that or test subject or whatever
Mm-hmm.
wants to report that it happened, there's no evidence of it having happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's no intense damage done to them to the point
Mm-hmm.
where they've been harmed really badly. Obviously, people have been harmed psychologically by this, and people have had things implanted in them, and
Mm-hmm.
people have had babies, apparently. Maybe part of the agreement is that they are as non-invasive as possible to conduct their human life experiments, and then there won't be an interplanetary war.
Yeah.
And that's what staves them off, is that they are allowed to do this under the condition that they return them exactly how they left them.
Okay.
Like
That's
if you're going to
actually-
target somebody, then you do what you need to do as non-invasively as possible, return them exactly where you left them,
Mm-hmm.
and try to wipe their memory if you can.
Yeah, I think that's a really good theory, a really good point. At some point, the jig is going to be up. We're going to know for a fact all the things that we think we know right now, I think.
Yeah, like all these documents and stuff. To be fair, I haven't read these declassified documents because I know
Mhm.
it's like pages and pages and lots of jargon. But I'm aware of the fact that declassified documents exist that pertain to the existence of aliens in addition to
Right.
other phenomena.
At this point, I feel like there's just so much information out there, and it's all on purpose to be contradictory and confusing so that it's
Mhm.
really difficult to figure out the truth. But long story short, I'm pretty sure we're getting close to having the answer to all of these extraterrestrial questions that we've been having. That's the Berkshire UFO incident, and I would love to hear the story that had you shook this week. But I think we have an announcement. Would you like to spill the tea?
Oh my God, I almost forgot. I was just thinking about how I'm about ready for the aliens to come get me once and for all. But I don't want them to come get me until after July 21st. You want to know why?
Why?
Because Shook Podcast, aka me and Amanda, are going to be at the Nashville Horror and Paranormal Convention on July 20th and 21st. So I don't want the aliens to come get me until after we're done with that. But then after that, come on.
It's fair game. Yes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know we have a lot of listeners in Tennessee, Georgia, and surrounding southern states. So if you're able to make the trip, we would love to see you there. I did announce this on our Patreon page to our free and paid members. So FYI, you can come on to Patreon for free and you'll still get a little something from time to time. So come on.
But also, if you want to help support us, you're also welcome to be a paid member. And there's some stuff in it for you too. It's not just to support us. There's some like fun videos content.
Yeah.
Fucking
There's-
there's some fun video content on there these days to check out. And it's kind of
definitely.
entertaining, honestly. It might only be entertaining to us, actually, but like, go check it out. Like, pay for a month, check it out. If you think it's stupid, you can cancel it.
I forget what episode we mentioned that we were going to play our whole home improvement, but Sannah cut that together and I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. So if anything,
Yes.
go watch Home Improvement and the several cutting room floor episodes we have of all the things that didn't make the cut.
Yes, we have so many more cutting room floor episodes coming at you real soon too. So there's lots of extra content on there now and coming soon. So definitely come be a free member at least so you can stay up to date on the latest tea and also have access to the merch store, etc. But yeah, if you want
Yeah.
to support us, we'd greatly appreciate it because we're just out here.
Yeah, because we just
out here trying to produce.
Yeah, and we just had a conversation about how the United States of America is collapsing and we're all gonna die.
Yeah, we're just out here like trying to make it in this godforsaken place. But like, it's okay if you can't.
It's fine. No, we understand if you can't, but please do if you can. So that's what's coming up on our schedule. But Sannah, please tell me, what story had you shook this week?
You are not ready for this awesome Indonesian folklore tale that I'm about to tell y'all.
Oh, snap.
Well, I'm not really telling a tale, but I'm telling you about a really, really cool entity of Indonesian, Malaysian, and Singaporean folklore.
Can I guess?
If you want.
I'm probably wrong. Are you covering the jinn?
No. But some say that this entity could be a jinn.
Oh, okay.
But before I get into the story, I just want to give all the credit to my beautiful, wonderful, sweet baby angel Indonesian friends, Priska, Elma, Awa, Faris, Dewa, Dewa 2, Felicia, Klanicha. Who am I forgetting? I don't know. Gabriel. Oh, I can never forget Gabriel. My sweet baby angel. Anyway, I have lots of Indonesian friends and I love them very much. And they have told me lots of different things about their culture. And their culture is so fucking cool. And I just want everyone to know that, like, as soon as I get a passport, I'm finding a way to go to Bali.
Hell yeah.
I love my Indonesian friends, but sometimes I ask them, why would you come here? Because where they live is so beautiful and they love it and they miss it. Anyway, this isn't about Bali, but that's where I want to go ASAP. So my friend Gabriel put me on to some Indonesian horror. And then my friend Priska told me about all types of different things that I should look into folklore wise. And then my friend Faris once told me that there was a lot of black magic in Indonesian culture, which that's something that I will be getting into at a later date because it is very interesting. But the entity that I'm going to be talking about today is called the Kuntilanak. The Kuntilanak is a vampiric mythological creature known by the name Kuntilanak in Indonesia, Pontianak in Malaysia, and Yakshi in Hindu mythology, which, by the way, Hindu is the main religion in Indonesia. Some are also Islam, but Hindu is very common. Country-wise, this creature is mainly known to Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. The Kuntilanak often takes the form of a pregnant woman who died during childbirth and is usually seen wearing a blood-smeared white dress, but sometimes she's seen in a red dress. They say if you see her in a red dress, she is extra vicious.
Extra kunti?
Extra, yeah. Actually, she is described as being a very vengeful spirit with sharp fangs and long fingernails, who mainly targets men. The Kuntilanak is said to have great shape-shifting abilities and can disguise herself as a beautiful woman to lure her male victims, then change into a more monstrous form once her prey is captured, and then use her long, sharp nails to tear out their organs and eat them.
Oh.
She may also suck the eyes out of her victim's head.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
She can easily flee the scene by then shifting into a bird and flying away. The Kuntilanak is said to only appear during a full moon. Signs that she could be nearby include the sound of an infant crying, feminine laughter, and the fragrance of the plumeria flower, a native flower to Indonesia and Malaysia. It is said that if the crying or laughter is faint, she is actually very close by, but if it is quite loud, she is far enough away.
Wait a second. It sounds to me like what they say about the Appalachian Trail and like all of Appalachia, where like if you hear something calling your name from far away, it's real close. Kind of a similar thing.
She's trying to disorient everybody. In addition to the scent of the plumeria flower, the stench of a decaying corpse can also be an indication of her proximity to you. She is attracted to the scent of freshly clean laundry, so it is recommended to those who hang clothes up to dry in the sun to not leave it outside overnight. Some Malaysians are quite superstitious about this. The Pontianak of Malaysian mythology is said to really like banana trees, and allegedly lives in them during the day. One way to overtake the Pontianak is to drive a nail into the nape of her neck, which is supposed to turn her into a beautiful woman and a subservient wife figure to the man who would have been her victim. If the nail is removed, she returns to her monstrous nature. Specific to Indonesia, the Kuntilanak commonly takes the form of a bird and sucks the blood of virgins and young women. It is said that the Kuntilanak bird form may be sent through black magic to make a woman fall ill with unexplained vaginal bleeding. I've been going through that. Did somebody who sent her?
Like, what is up with these synchronicities? What is happening right now?
I didn't do nothing, and I'm not a virgin either. So you have the wrong one. When she is in female form interacting with a man, she may turn to reveal that her back is completely hollow. This is very similar to another entity in Indonesian folklore called the Sundel Bolong, a ghost with a very similar appearance to the Kuntilanak, but heavily linked to sex work. Which, honestly, the whole like nail in the neck, turning her into like this subservient figure.
I have to ask if it's a Timu nail.
Honestly, like for best results, use a Timu nail.
So if you don't understand that reference, listen to the last episode when we talked about a movie called Immaculate with Speak of the Devil.
Yeah, that was a callback joke. Ever heard of it? The Kuntilanak of Indonesia can also be overtaken with a nail, but in this case, it must be driven into the top of her head rather than the nape of the neck for the Malaysian Pontianak. The Kuntilanak is usually depicted in different art forms as a beautiful woman with pale skin, red eyes, and long black hair. When people dress up as her, they usually paint their face white and have blood red eye makeup, sometimes in the form of blood dripping from the eyes and or mouth. Although this creature is known in Indonesia as the Kuntilanak, the Pontianak of Malaysia inspired the name of a capital city in the western Kalimantan region. This is a big reason why Kuntilanak and Pontianak are often used interchangeably to refer to this entity, especially in Indonesia. According to the legend, the land and forests where the city of Pontianak was being built was infested with the Kuntilanak. The Sultan of this new city, hold on, I texted Awa earlier and I asked him how to pronounce this guy's name, and he sent me a video of how to pronounce it.
I love that. That's a real one for you.
Yeah, I'm going to play it into the microphone, and in editing, if it works, I'll keep it, if it's not too distorted.
Sharif Abdurrahman Alexandria.
The Sultan of this new city, Sharif Abdurrahman Alexandri, ordered that cannons be fired to scare away the Kuntilanak, and then named the city after her. An annual festival is still held today in Pontianak, in which special carbide cannons made from wooden logs are fired to ring the end of Ramadan and to ensure that the Kuntilanak stays away. In 2017, there were alleged plans from the Pontianak city government to build a 300-foot statue of the Kuntilanak's figure as an effort to increase tourism to the area. An activist group called Gema Topan, in English this translates to Community Movement to Reject Ghost Statue, gathered outside the Parliament building to protest this. Nobody wanted the statue. They were like, hell no. We don't want this nightmare statue in the middle of our city. Like, because in Indonesia, children are told about the Kuntilanak to scare them from going out into the woods alone. Like, people use this folklore legend tale in present day to keep their kids from going into dangerous situations alone. You know what I mean? So kids grow up being scared of this and turn into adults who are still scared of this. A poll showed that 98% of Pontianak residents were opposed to the statue. Some residents wondered if the statue would only provoke the Kuntilanak to wreak havoc in the city. Ultimately, the city did not erect a giant statue of the Kuntilanak in the middle of the city of Pontianak. So the Kuntilanak is one of those entities that isn't just one. There's many of them. It is said that a woman can actually turn into a Kuntilanak if she dies during childbirth. That is a superstition, and it's also just part of the tale. I guess it's a way of explaining how there could be so many. Yeah, there's definitely a fear of becoming that. So yeah, basically there's like a bunch of Kuntilanak all over Pontianak. So that's basically my story. There's a whole lot of, contradicting parts to this story as it pertains to Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. There's different tellings of it that contradict each other. But one thing is for sure, no matter where she is coming from, one thing she's going to do is serve Kuntilanak. And and that's on period. So she's serving Kuntilanak wherever she is, whether it's Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, you name it. She's going to serve.
That was epic. Look at Sannah pulling an Amanda with these puns. We love to see it.
Yeah, I had to look. I was trying so hard to make fetch happen with that, and I just really needed it too. But yeah, I really enjoyed learning about this. And actually, also, there's a bunch of movies. There's like a series of movies. There's this 2006 movie called Kuntilanak, and there's a Kuntilanak 2, and then also there's a 2018 Kuntilanak movie that apparently is coming to Netflix in the near future. I searched the 7 seas of the internet, and there was nowhere that I could watch these movies. And I tried even YouTube, and on YouTube it was like really shitty quality. But I really, really do want to watch these movies because I'm sure like horror interpretations of this is probably really good. And Indonesian horror is known to be really iconic.
Hell yeah.
Hey, if anybody knows how I can stream Kuntilanak movies, hit me up. Send me the link.
I wonder if
That's
it's
all
on
I'm gonna say.
Tubi. I feel like Tubi has
No,
everything.
it's not even on Tubi. I looked everywhere. It wasn't even available to rent on Prime. I thought at least I could rent it, but no, it's nowhere.
Dang. Well, Sannah, that was a very unsettling story, and I had never heard of this entity before, and the eye sucking and just the general scary shenanigans of it all. No, thank you. Say less. I'm not there. I'm not going.
Yeah, I do still, even though the city of Pontianak did not erect that statue, I still would be down to go there and check it out. Maybe
I'll go.
when I go to Bali.
I'll go if you hold my hand.
Okay, come on.
I'll be scared.
I gotta get a passport and then we can go.
Yeah, I need to do that too. Also need to formally change my last name.
Yeah.
As I'm coming up on 4 years being married. It's fine.
Oh my God.
Red tape. So I guess that is our show. We hope to see you in Nashville, July 20th and 21st. And that'll be at the Fairgrounds, Nashville, by the way. And send us your ghost stories, please. Also, thanks.
Yes, please come see us at our booth. We want to give out more friendship bracelets. We gave out all the friendship bracelets we had to our names.
We sure did.
In Oregon, and we've been working hard on making more. We want to give those out. And so come on, come see us.
Come on.
Other than that, I would really like for you to just stay shook.
Thank you so much for tuning into Shook. New episodes of Shook drop every other Wednesday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you love to listen to your favorite podcasts. For more information on today's episode, please check out our show notes. And until next time, stay shook.
Do you have a personal paranormal encounter you'd like to share with us? If so, visit our website at shookpodcast.com and fill out our contact form. Or send us an email at shookparanormalpod@gmail.com.
And one last thing, friends, Shook is a 100% independently produced podcast. So please consider supporting our show by either leaving a review or contributing to our Patreon page. You can find that at patreon.com/shookpodcast.